Good evening. I'm Henry Goodwin, and our sports sticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. In Husker baseball news, 5 Huskers were named to the academic all-district list. Drew Christo, Casey Dice, Caleb Clark, Caden Brumbaugh, and Gabe Swanson were included on the list that recognizes the nation's top student athletes for their combined performances on the field and in the classroom. In swimming and diving news, Jenna Jorgensen broke her own record yesterday at the 2025 Toyota USA National Championships in Indianapolis. Jorgensen recorded the time of 8:33.79 in the 1,650-yard freestyle, earning a 6th-place finish. The Stanley Cup finals start tonight with a rematch of last year's matchup. The Florida Panthers are in Edmonton to take on the Oilers for Game 1, which is underway at 7 p.m. Game 1 of the Women's College World Series is also on tonight. Texas Tech in Texas square off at 7 p.m. Our sports sticker is sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Now get ready for 2 hours of Sports Nightly, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
70-shoot high lob, caught by Petrie somehow underneath, in trouble, got to Hank for 3, yay! Gotcha! Huskers made something out of nothing. I don't know how Petrie got it to Kellen Hank, who buried the Central Valley egg 3.
Dice has the sign. He collects the 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Casey Dice finishes it for Nebraska. The dog pile is on. The Nebraska Cornhuskers have run the table and run it back. Back-to-back Big Ten tournament champions.
Pass made Franklin, the slide, Robinson, block back! Colby grandkids! They did it! Nebraska sweeps Wisconsin for the 3rd time this season. And hello, Louisville! The Big Red back where it belongs. The Final Four, number 18 in school history.
Now, here is your host, Nick Handley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey, good evening and welcome to a Wednesday night edition of Sports Nightly from the Akrs Broadcast Studio. We're Camden Cone, and of course we got our man Henry Goodwin as well out there in the Akrs Broadcast Studio, which is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. And wanted to give a hat tip to, as you heard in the ticker, and Henry telling you about the academic all-district. It was funny because we were talking to Drew Christo yesterday on the show, and I know a lot of the folks in the chat were wanting to know what his most challenging course was as a guy that is going to go pre-med if the whole professional baseball thing doesn't work out, which is obviously a path that Drew Christo very well is going to pursue after our conversation yesterday. You heard that. And he said biochemistry, too. He took that during the season, and he got an A. So it's no wonder guys like Drew Christo are also on that list. But congrats to Drew Christo and to Caleb Clark, Casey Dice, Caden Brumbaugh, Gabe Swanson. And it's interesting, too, you think about those guys, all of them extremely impactful for that Nebraska baseball team and that Big Ten championship run as well. So hat tip to those guys. Excited to have you on with us today. We're going to be talking more about the battle at the Boneyard on Friday night. Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7 Sports is going to be joining me in about 20 minutes. I haven't talked to BC in a very long time. He used to be a regular guest with me on the 2 previous radio stations I was with before, and BC, not only obviously a very talented journalist, he covers Husker hoops as well, but also I've golfed once with Brian Christopherson, and this guy has one of the most unique yet effective swings off the tee box. So, and he's a Twins fan, so this is where he and I, we collide a little bit because of my fandom for the Cleveland, previously known as the Indians Guardians, and he's a big Minnesota Twins fan. So, we've got that going on. Also going to get into some volleyball in the 7 o'clock hour. Lincoln Arneal, who has been covering Husker volleyball for as long as I can remember, is one of the savants when it comes to Husker volleyball and also the history with it. We're going to get some early conversation in on what should be another great, exciting season, but a season that will have a much different feel because of Danny Busboom Kelly and that inaugural season of the new coach. So we will be talking to Lincoln Arneal in the 7 o'clock hour. You can always hit us up on the text line at 402-413-2000 if you want to get any of your comments in or anything that you want to get into as well. But we start today with something that I found to be very interesting because it came out of the mouth of a national championship football coach, but it was also something that was said before Ryan Day did a year ago at Big Ten Media Days when Matt Rule also advocated for the Big Ten to have the most teams in the college football playoff. Now, as we talk about a college football playoff that most likely is going to be going to a 5+11 model in a 16-team expanded college football field, the only question is, will there be the, as it was being floated out there, that the SEC would get 4, the Big Ten would get 4, and then the ACC would get 2 automatic, the Big 12 would get 2 automatic, and then you would have a group of 5 as well getting an automatic. That, of course, Brett Yormark is saying, nope, we don't like that. That is not best for college football. The SEC and the Big Ten, if they're going to hold all the power, that comes with responsibility. Those are his words, not mine. But Ryan Day was talking about the new expanded playoff, and he was talking about the Big Ten and how they have some of the best programs in the country, and he feels that the Big Ten deserves 4 automatic qualifiers. And we remember the pushback by one Paul Feinbaum of ESPN saying for Matt Rule to stay in his lane. And again, remember, this wasn't Matt Rule saying Nebraska should be in the college football playoff every year. He was advocating for the Big Ten. And this was a time where there was still a lot of interest to see how this new expanded going from 4 to 12 would look and how it would impact the 2 major players out of the Power 4 now in the SEC and the Big Ten. And as we've seen, the Big Ten has not only really muscled up there and had their place at the table, but you can say when it comes to football right now and what they were able to do, especially in the college football playoff, but throughout the season and the amount of top 10 teams compared to the SEC, that the Big Ten, and even admitted by SEC apologist Paul Feinbaum, that the Big Ten has surpassed the SEC, at least for the moment. And so I'm curious if we'll get the same type of blowback of what Ryan Day said, just like when Matt Rule said it. And you and I both know the answer to that, and that is going to be no, because it is coming from a guy whose team won a national championship. But having said all of that, this is the big shift in college football right now. This is where everybody is trying to figure out, okay, you're adding 4 more teams into the mix, which I think we all knew before that first playoff had even kicked off, that once you had 12, that was most likely going to open it up for a little more expansion. Now, the question was, what was that number going to be? And you knew there was the talks already about 16. So now this whole idea of the Big Ten and the SEC saying, hey, we think that there should be 4 automatics from our 2 conferences. And the SEC and the Big Ten are holding a lot of the power at those meeting tables. I understand what Brett Yormark's doing. I understand Brett Yormark saying that is not in the best interest of college football because you're also going to try to stand up for your conference. But if we're being honest here, in most years, the majority of the teams, or at least the conferences that are going to put the most teams in, are going to come from what conference or conferences? The SEC and the Big Ten. So I think a lot of this is posturing. I think when you say, well, we want the 4 automatic qualifiers from those 2 conferences, obviously that's not going to get voted through because as long as the commissioners of the other conferences have a say in this, they're not going to do that because there could be a year where maybe the Big 12 has 3 or 4 that are worthy of that. And I think Brett Yormark's whole comment on this. And again, I understand what he's saying. Again, he's doing his job. He is defending his conference, and he's trying to stick up for them. They don't want to be pigeonholed to just 2 every year. Now, again, most years, what's the Big 12 going to have? Any more than that? Probably not. But if for some reason you succumb to that type of format to where you're maxed out at 2, then I think you're doing your conference a disservice if you do not fight for that. There could be a year. I can't imagine it happen often, but there could be a year where the Big 12 maybe does have 3 worthy teams in there. Heck, maybe 4. I don't think that's normal, but at least it opens up to, all right, we're going to do the exact same thing we did a year ago, but we got 4 new slots now where you're going to have the 5 automatic qualifiers, and then you have the 11 at large. So obviously that's all going to go off in the college football playoff rankings and where you fall into that. So all of this conversation right now, it's typical conversation of the college football playoff and having that expansion of, okay, well, should we now push, if you're the Big Ten and the SEC, should we push to protect our conference to basically assure that we will have 4 teams in? And it's the same thing as I said about Brett Yormark, of what Greg Sankey has to do, what Tony Petitti has to do. And they're also going to stick up for their conference. They're going to use recent history, because recent history is on their side of the amount of teams that they've had in the top 10, the top 15, and this last year, the teams that qualified for the college football playoff. You're going to use that. You want to get as many as you can in. But this is where I think it's maybe somewhat semantics, because I do think most years you're going to have that anyway. You're going to have at least 3, if not 4, teams from those 2 conferences in the college football playoff in that new 16-team format. So there's a lot of back and forth with this, but I found it to be very funny that Ryan Day said exactly the same thing that Matt Rule did a year ago. And Ryan Day citing the quality of teams that they have in the Big Ten now, with the expanded Big Ten, with the 18 teams and the teams out west. And he's not wrong. But again, Matt Rule wasn't wrong last year either. Matt Rule said what was on everyone's mind, but the fact that it came from Matt Rule, that since he's been at Nebraska, they had not, at least at that point, had not gone to a bowl game, that it fell on deaf ears, or it was heavily criticized, especially by the people in the SEC who advocate for the SEC, of how dare you say that? You haven't surpassed the SEC. And your team, you guys haven't even gone to a bowl game, so how dare you have that thought? Well, it's actually an honest opinion, and it's obviously being shared by other coaches. But I just find it funny that all of a sudden Ryan Day and Ohio State, who have a lot more clout than they did a year ago, you feel like, I can say that, and you're not going to get any pushback. It shouldn't matter your status in the conference when you want to advocate for the conference as a whole. Because, again, I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. Matt Rule didn't say, we, Nebraska, should be in the college football playoff every year. No, he said the conference should have 4 teams, or should have, is the best conference in college football. They're proving that. And so, again, I'm curious if there will be any type of blowback on this, which again, you and I both know the answer is no, there won't be. But this is the conversations that are happening right now. When it comes to the college football playoff, there's a lot of flexing. And quite frankly, I think there's still some concern when you do look at if you're the Big 12, if you're the ACC, if you're even the group of 5, of great, we go from 12 to 16. That should give us more seats at the table, more opportunity. And I think in reality it does. But you have to know that the SEC and the Big Ten, they have aligned now for the second year? They've aligned for a reason. And that reason is to protect their brand. That reason, and which I still think could potentially be coming in the near future, where there's going to be some type of agreement that at least one non-conference game will match those 2. We'll have maybe a somewhat of an SEC Big Ten type of challenge when it comes to college football. I think it'd be fantastic, because I think you understand now with that expanded playoff, you don't necessarily get overly dinged for stepping out of your conference and playing a major, major rival conference like the SEC and the Big Ten. And so if you were to lose that game, but hey, say it's competitive, That actually could help you a lot more than going and playing, no disrespect to like Kennesaw State or somebody, you know? So I think there's still a lot that the Big Ten and the SEC are probably discussing behind closed doors on how that they can pretty much control the majority of that playoff to make sure that they're having that in the college football playoff, that they're having as many brands from each of those conferences in the college football playoff. And at the end of the day, just like what I said about Brett Yormark, and I get why he is advocating to not have those four automatic bids from the SEC and the Big Ten, he's doing his job to protect his conference. It's the same thing that Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti are doing. They see the money that their conferences are drawing in. They see that. They understand the demand to see those types of high-caliber football games and those brands that are top 10 brands now. And you're starting to get some of those older brands trying to catch up as well. You've got a very powerful thing amongst those two conferences. I dare anybody to try to stop it, and it's not going to happen. So it's okay now for coaches in the Big Ten to talk about this, apparently. So anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk to Brian Christopherson, a big event coming up on Friday, as we mentioned. It is the Battle at the Boneyard, the 7-on-7 skills camp and tournament that is open to the public. Again, don't forget, first 500 at Memorial Stadium, first 500 fans. You get the free Adidas shirt. You get the Fairbury brand hot dog. Heck yeah. And you get a Gatorade as well. It should be great weather for it, too. And you're going to see some of the best high school players in the skill position throughout the country making their way to Lincoln. It's going to be a fantastic showcase. We're going to get Brian's thoughts on that, the upcoming season as well, as we continue here on Sports Nightly. More coming up next.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing, you pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
Your next vehicle is waiting for you at Woodhouse. With over 20 locations and a variety of brands, Woodhouse offers everything from reliable trucks to family-friendly SUVs. Whether you're looking for a Nissan, Mazda, or Infiniti, our team is here to help you find the perfect fit. Enjoy a seamless car buying experience with our expert staff and exceptional service. Visit Woodhouse today, where quality, selection, and customer satisfaction come first. or get started online at woodhouse.com.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or give us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Welcome back, Sports Nightly. Nick Handley in with you. Jessica Cootie's off for the week. We'll be back with you tomorrow again. No show on Friday. So, speaking of Friday, though, a fantastic event, an event that is so unique in the world of recruiting, but also unique in just something that has really taken the high school game by storm. And when it comes to a lot of these different summer teams, the 7-on-7 leagues that are going on throughout the country is a big deal. So you get a chance to see both of these things at Memorial Stadium, the Battle of the Boneyard taking place on Friday with some of the best skilled position players you're going to see in the country at the high school level and at different recruiting cycles as well, making their way into Lincoln Friday, which, again, this is open to the public. First 500 fans, you get your Fairbury brand hot dog, you get your Gatorade, and you get a free Adidas shirt for attending this very unique recruiting opportunity for the Nebraska football team. And happy to discuss this and more football and whatever comes up, too, because it's been a while since Brian Christopherson of Husker 24/7 Sports and I have had a conversation. First of all, BC, how's the summer treating you thus far, my man?
Summer's great. How you doing, Nick? Are we going to talk AL Central wild card for a whole segment on the Huskers radio network, or is that's probably not allowed?
Well, you know what I don't mind about this is that we're both chasing Detroit, so neither one of us is at the top, and that's the what is it, the higher you go, the longer the fall is, and so we can inch our way up there. But there have been some good little battles between Minnesota and Cleveland so far this season, too. Some tight games, some late inning dramatics as well. I feel like our two teams are kind of evenly matched, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. You guys always seem to beat us by a run, and you're the first person I actually think of when that happens. And so I have like a disdain for you for like 10 seconds, and then it passes, and I'm like, man, Nick is such a great guy. I can't be mad at him, even though he roots for Cleveland. But
I thought you were going to – so once you said it's for 10 seconds and then you say what you said there, I was going to say, what about Mike Schaefer? But then you just continue your negative thoughts about Schaefer, right?
Oh, yeah. Then I just keep it on Schaefer for like the next 12 hours or so. But anyway, there might be some guys from Cleveland and Minneapolis in town for this event Friday if you want to segue into that. But, yeah.
See, this is why I bring you on, man. You know exactly how to get right into it. And when I think of this event, BC, the thing that comes to mind is just creativity. And I go back to when Matt Rule first got here to Lincoln. And for a guy that was stepping into a college football world that was so drastically different from when he left Baylor, but wasn't that different from the world he just left at the NFL? And there's been so much creativity when it comes to promoting the Nebraska football brand and trying to get it out all over the country. This thing, to me, I just go back to this event and being able to work within the NCAA guardrails of this thing, too. This is just creative. How do you see this event for Nebraska?
Extremely creative. What separated Nebraska football from others in its greatest years was innovation and being ahead of the curve, whether, back in the 80s, 90s, we're talking about like the weight room, nutrition, facilities. Everybody kind of caught up with that, and now Nebraska's got amazing facilities, obviously, but that kind of got evened out. So you got to look for what's next. What is staying 2 to 3 steps ahead of someone else? What's something that someone has not done where you can set the trend, where you set the tone, and you kind of own it? And this event on Friday, I think, is that, this 7v7 showcase. And as you were, opening it up, it's become widely popular with some of the highest rated recruits around the country. There's going to be a lot of top 247 players in the 27 class at this event, wide receivers, cornerbacks, guys who will be the names in college football, whether they come to Nebraska or elsewhere. They're going to be the big playmakers in a few years on Saturdays. And these guys are going to be in Memorial Stadium, around the stadium, checking out the facilities, and I think probably destroying some perceptions that they have along the way. It sounds cliche because I think people read it all the time, but honest to goodness, most recruits I talk with, they always have, and I think cornfields get a bad rap with recruiting. I love cornfields, but you know where I'm going with this, Nick. They all talk about I thought it was going to be cornfield. That's all I thought Nebraska was. And these, you get some guys from Miami here. They're like, no, it's not. That's not all it is. It's a pretty cool city. And also you get a chance with it open to the public, I think, to exhibit, Nebraska football's best quality. And it's the fans, it's the passion that runs so deep for generations for Husker football. And it's the same fan base that came out for Friday Night Light events in the past. I'm more excited about this than the Friday Night Light events because we're keeping score. And if you went to camps in the past, if you ever attended one of those events, everybody's favorite part anyway is when the receivers and DBs line up and go one-on-one and they throw some go balls and you see who can win, right? And so people are going to get that, all day long, all night if they come to the championship games. And so I think it will be entertaining with guys on the field who care if they win or lose, because these guys have some rivalries built up because they play at these tournaments all over against each other, and they love to beat each other, compete against each other.
Do you see this as Nebraska opening a door that other schools most likely will take advantage of and really try to also host something similar like this? Because I feel like if you're one of the first to do this like Nebraska is, people are going to see the value of that. And I don't care if we're talking about big-time football programs that have a hot recruiting bed or ones that are trying to play catch-up. I feel like this is another blueprint for other colleges and other big programs to use.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be copycats, but it's like everything. If you're first to it and you do it well, you can set the tone with the teams involved and others who see it from afar. Okay, Nebraska's already pulled this off and it worked, and I'll go back to it. I'll take my kids back next year and the year after that. So I think that's what you would hope ideally they build. We'll see. We'll see how it goes this weekend. It's got to play itself out, and everything's got to come together. But I know there's been a lot of time and energy spent on this, and as I said, it's a really sharp idea to get ahead of people on, because there will be followers. But if you're first to the table, that's a pretty big deal. And there's teams from all over. There's a team from Miami, California, Indianapolis. Team Domo has some Nebraska kids on it. So everybody is pretty well represented around the country. And the biggest thing is the kids are going to get here, and of course, I talked about the cornfield thing, but they're going to see that facility that's new and the training table and all that stuff. And that plays on guys' minds a little bit. This wouldn't be a bad place to hang out after practice and all that stuff.
It's going to be warm too, as opposed to 25 degrees when you're coming out here in December or January. So that always helps as well. Talking to Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 Sports. BC, the other thing about this one is the peer recruiting element that comes with this, and I know Trey Taylor is talking up the event. I believe he is going to be here this weekend, unless I've been mistaken. But, there's another powerful big-time recruit that you have already waiting in the wings that is going to use his early commitment to try to be able to sell this on top of what these guys are going to see with their own eyes, correct?
Yeah. That's where Nebraska's in a good position that I don't think should be undersold, because you've got Dylan Raiola here right now, and he's a really good peer recruiter, as we've seen with, like portal additions like Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter. They were drawn to this place because of Dylan in part. And Trey Taylor is now doing that for guys more, his age, the 27, 28 guys. He's a 27 commit. And he has no problem, as anybody who's on social media has seen, playing that role, which is a great thing. I know Pat Stewart, the GM for Nebraska, has talked about if you have that quarterback spot in place, guys are drawn to that. They want to know who's going to be throwing me the ball. Is he the type of player that can make me take my game up a notch, because I know we're going to be good at the most important position, I think, in sports. And Trey Taylor's in town for a huddle event. Right. The huddle futures event is going on. Futures Forum is going on Friday, Saturday, and there's about, I don't know, like at least 20 guys who are kind of like 4-star type guys who are 27, 28 recruits going to that Future Forum event. So they're in town as well. And so when you combine that with the guys participating in the 7v7, and then you add in about 8 or 9 official visitors who, are obviously important to the class ahead, I don't think it's overstating it to say it's the most talent recruiting-wise that's ever been in Lincoln at one time that I can ever remember. I mean, when you add up all the numbers, you'd be hard-pressed to beat it. So this is sort of a weekend unlike any other, and it's kind of the, 3 different things sort of merging together to make it happen. But that just shows you, all the balls that have to be in the air to pull it off and try to do it well. But it also shows like a real commitment to planning and like what it takes to recruit at a high level. And, I think if you can get out in front with these 27, 28 kids and get them around each other while they're in Lincoln, I think that's a big deal when they're with a guy who's in their recruiting class. They're looking out at that stadium or at those facilities together, and it's just easier that way to picture like we could do this together at this very place we're at right now. It's got all the resources. We've got the talent. Let's combine those things and make it happen. That's why it's so big to get people on campus at the same time, as opposed to just like social media recruiting and some of the stuff we see. This stuff's way more important because they're actually on site.
Let's talk about the current team right now. This is always that it's the less or least talked about time of the year because it's summer. Everybody else has got a lot going on. But quite frankly, it's just not publicized as much because there's not media availability. There's not a lot of things that we can bring to the fans with summer conditioning. And quite frankly, there's probably not a lot that we could draw from it. But we know that it is one of the most important times as you're on the doorstep of fall camp right now. And, Brian, if you're looking at some of the biggest gains that need to be made and some of the biggest jumps that maybe you're the most curious about seeing when guys return for fall camp, certain area that you're looking at with this football team, especially as those summer conditioning and all the drills that are taking place, all the work that's taking place under the guidance of the coaching staff, is there certain areas that you're curious about?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think of like the defensive line, and obviously we've talked all off season about how it's a makeover group with different personnel than we're used to without Ty and Nash. But there's a lot of guys who think it's their time, so it's an opportunity for your guys like Judy and Van Poppel and Keona Davis, Cam Lenhart. They've got to lead. They've got to be the guys who set the tone, so that you build that room up where by the time you get to Arrowhead, you feel like there are 7 or 8 guys you can rotate in and you don't sense a drop-off. Obviously, you could go to running back, right? I mean, after Emmett, like Quentin Ives, this staff has shown a lot of trust in and how they talk about him and what they think he's capable of. They think he's trending the right way. He's got to just keep on that climb. A year ago at the same time, and I thought E.J. Barthel made a good point this spring, we had the same questions about running back with like Dante Dowdell. Like we didn't know necessarily that he was going to be the guy he was in the fall. Like, and at the end of spring, he was like fourth in some of our minds, but he kept growing and he kept learning what he needed to learn. And by the time the season got here, obviously he was part of the 1-2 punch at running back. So it's going to be huge for Ives, and then maybe another young back. Who knows? If a Connor Booth or Jamarian Parker, anybody just steps up, there's an opportunity to make some noise at that position for sure. And then I think with Dylan and the wide receivers, you just want to keep, growing that togetherness where you feel like you got your timing right. You sort of understand what this guy does in a certain situation or that situation, and so. I know that Dylan has worked hard to spend any extra time he can with guys like Dane and Isaiah and, Luke Lindenmeyer, Harburg, those type of guys where you feel like you know each other like the back of your hand by the time the games show up.
BC, before I let you go, I feel like every year that I've had a chance to talk with you on a regular basis, there's always maybe a golf trip or two or a new course that has been enjoyed by you and some of the members of your family. Did we do one, or do we have one coming up at all?
No, I should say we do. But we've played it before. But Landman in Nebraska, out in Homer. If you got to get like right on the first day, I forget what day it is, like December 30th, when you got to be on the website to get your tee time. But my brother, Johnny on the Spot, for a second time in a row, got us a tee time. So that's coming up in a month.
Nice.
I put that course up with some of the best I've played anywhere, and I'm not acting like I've been everywhere. I haven't, but I've played a couple. I got to play Erin Hills where the U.S. Women's Open was last weekend a couple years ago, and I like Landman as well as Erin Hills. So that's me vouching for the local course there. So I'm excited to play that one again.
The folks in Homer appreciate that as well. We were, so during the golf trip, or the GC, it was actually a baseball trip. It was a working trip. During the baseball regional trip, we golfed at the UNC course called Findlay. That was amazing. That was, if you are ever in the Durham, Chapel Hill, Raleigh, the little triad there, the triangle, if you will, Findlay, for what you pay, it is gorgeous, and that is the UNC home course. It was fantastic.
Have they etched in your 65 as the course record up behind the clubhouse stand yet or anything?
I shot pretty good. I'm not going to lie. We had rental clubs too, and I was hoping, gosh, just don't get embarrassed, because a buddy of mine who lives kind of out that way, he met us up, and when he heard we were going to go to Findlay, he said, "It's beautiful. It's really tough though." And this guy's really good. And when he said that, I'm thinking, oh, gosh. So Ben and I went in there. Jackson Vetter, with our social media and our videographer crew, went with us as well. I think we all just had the idea of let's just have fun and enjoy this thing. And we all shot in the 80s. I barely missed. I almost broke 80 there. And so I was pretty happy. I ended up shooting, it turned out to be an 81. I thought it was an 82, but I did not count one of my previous holes correctly. 81, so I was right there, and I bogeyed the last two holes.
Man, that's good, Nick. And I asked, so it's not bragging on your part, so just so the listeners know that. Who swings the sixth the best on the baseball team?
Rhett Stokes.
Okay.
Yeah, Rhett Stokes apparently just messed around during the Big Ten tournament on one of the many off days. Went over to Bent Tree, and I think I think it was like 72 or 73 that he shot with rental clubs, and he had never golfed there before. I'm like, that is ridiculous.
That's what you need to do. You need to propose on these airwaves. We need to get the best player from every sport out there on the course and have a little tournament that way. That's an idea.
Apparently, you remember Jake McSteen, former pitcher? Apparently, he was really good too. Yeah, apparently he was a stick too. So, yeah, it is. It's funny that it happens from pitchers though. You're not necessarily seeing it from guys. Well, Rhett Stokes, I mean, I guess he does play a position, but you're always worried, guys, that going to screw up your swing in the batter's box. But those guys can compartmentalize a lot better than I could.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's good information there. I'll take that with me.
Absolutely. And always great information for you, my man. Always great to catch up with you. If you guys obviously know Brian Christopherson, great work over at Husker 24/7. He and Mike Schaefer and Michael Bruns do fantastic work. So always appreciate the time. Enjoy Friday night. Looking forward to seeing what comes out of that.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nick. I do think people should get out there because I actually think it could be cooler than the Friday Night Lights stuff in its own way. So and that's not me just trying to be a homer about it. I'm actually pretty excited about it. So I think it's going to be a fun event.
I think so, too. Appreciate it, man. Have a great rest of the day.
Yep, thanks, Nick.
It's Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 Sports. Great stuff from him, as always. Going to take a quick break. Want to remind you, Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. More Sports Nightly after this.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or give us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
Your next vehicle is waiting for you at Woodhouse. With over 20 locations and a variety of brands, Woodhouse offers everything from reliable trucks to family-friendly SUVs. Whether you're looking for a Nissan, Mazda, or Infiniti, our team is here to help you find the perfect fit. Enjoy a seamless car buying experience with our expert staff and exceptional service. Visit Woodhouse today, where quality, selection, and customer satisfaction come first. Or get started online at woodhouse.com.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or give us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much, much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Big thanks to Brian Christopherson of Husker 24/7 Sports. Good stuff from him there. I have not had a chance since it was official and it was completely laid out on the field, and you had a chance to actually see it with your own eyes. A lot of the cool overhead views, and for a lot of folks that have a chance to have access to look inside Memorial Stadium. But the subtle yet, I think, major change. I know subtle and major are completely two different things, but just something as simple as making the end zones red and then having a little bit of that border just go past the goal line there. I think it's fantastic. I love it. I grew up watching that same type of overall field design where the end zone was green and it would have the Nebraska letters in red. And it was, in a way, kind of an old school look. But I love what Troy Denon had to say in explaining why they wanted to go that route and using the red and saying that we just don't use it enough. We don't use the red enough. And I think it's absolutely correct when it comes to the field there, because think of all of the cool different amenities that Memorial Stadium is rolling out. Everyone loves the light show after the third quarter, and to see that being dark and then lit up and seeing the red end zone, it just pops a lot more. I can't wait to see the first game where hopefully Nebraska, more than the opponent, is finding themselves into one of those red end zones. It's gonna take a while to get adjusted to it. It really will. And I'm sure there's some people that are like, nope, didn't want to see it changed at all. And hey, I respect your opinion on that. Me personally, 46 years old, so I've seen the good and some of the bad and the trying times and the best of times for Nebraska football. And I welcome this change. I think it's going to look fantastic. And just some of the overhead shots and seeing some of those overhead shots when it's gotten a little darker at night, how that still lights up. I know it's something just kind of small in the grand scheme of all the different projects going on, but something very subtle like that I think is going to look awesome on TV, especially those primetime games. I cannot wait for this. All right, we're going to come back to wrap up hour number one. Don't forget, hour two, going to be talking some volleyball. Lincoln Arneal will be joining us, Nebraska volleyball expert, as we will be getting into some of that as well. Don't go anywhere. More Sports Nightly after this.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing, you pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
You heard there in the ticker with Henry, and we'll have one coming your way here in just a little bit as we get into hour 2 of Sports Nightly. Stanley Cup Finals gets underway, and we've got a rematch, which I got to admit, if the Chicago Blackhawks aren't involved in the postseason, I don't watch every series like I typically would. But I'm looking forward to this rematch with Florida and Edmonton, and I am really pulling for Edmonton. I saw Shane in the chat ask who I liked in this series, and I'm going to roll with Edmonton. Obviously, Connor McDavid is one of the greatest players out there, and I would love to see him finally get one. I just think it's great for the sport. I think when your stars are on the biggest stage and they're performing and they're hoisting up a Stanley Cup, that is huge for the sport of hockey. So I can't wait to see this play out and see how that rematch. Remember, Edmonton almost pulled off the unthinkable in a 3-game deficit, reached all the way to Game 7 just to lose that one where you thought, oh my gosh, they have all the momentum, they're going to pull off the unthinkable, and they came just short. I think this Edmonton team is that much more determined. I think they play in a little bit more of an aggressive style than they did a year ago, but I think between Sergei Bobrovsky and looking at just, again, this whole the X factors of this game and Stuart Skinner, I think between Bobrovsky and Skinner, and remember, Skinner, if you follow hockey, this was a guy that was essentially benched because he was struggling and then had to be brought back in because Calvin Pickard was injured. And Skinner has been outstanding since. Probably next to Connor McDavid, probably the next most important player for the Edmonton Oilers. So if you can give me a very saucy goaltending matchup on top of some stars, and both teams have those stars, this is where I think it could be one of the better Stanley Cup Finals we have ever seen. And I know for a lot of people that are non-hockey fans, you might tune in because you're always told by people like myself that maybe watch it a little bit more on a regular basis, that this is one of the greatest tournaments or one of the greatest postseasons that you'll see when it comes to the way something about Stanley Cup playoffs and Stanley Cup Finals play out. It's exciting, it's constant action, and you can find yourself getting into it a lot more than some of the other sports that maybe you don't follow as much. This one in particular, this matchup in particular between Edmonton and Florida, I think has a chance to be one of the all-timers. I get it. It's a rematch. They're like, oh, we're seeing the same two teams from a year ago. But I'm telling you, these two teams they were on a collision course to get back into this part. And now you've got a very talented and hungry Edmonton looking to sort of even up the score when it comes to the Stanley Cup Finals. So can't wait to see that. That gets underway tonight, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. We will, we'll keep you updated on that. I'm sure we will, of course, as always, in the ticker as well. As I mentioned, coming up in hour number 2, we'll talk some more college football, other things, other elements in the world of college football other than just Ryan Day talking about how good the Big Ten is. We will get into that. Also, though, we're going to talk some Husker volleyball as, again, I'm raising my hand if I say who is excited to see what this team, what this season looks like, and what the first year of Danny Busboom Kelly will bring to a Nebraska fan base. Can't wait to see that. So we will talk about all things Nebraska volleyball with Lincoln Arneal. That's all coming up here in hour 2 of Sports Nightly. Don't go anywhere.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Your next vehicle is waiting for you at Woodhouse. With over 20 locations and a variety of brands, Woodhouse offers everything from reliable trucks to family-friendly SUVs. Whether you're looking for a Nissan, Mazda, or Infiniti, our team is here to help you find the perfect fit. Enjoy a seamless car buying experience with our expert staff and exceptional service. Visit Woodhouse today, where quality, selection, and customer satisfaction come first. Or get started online at woodhouse.com.
Good evening. I'm Henry Goodwin, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. In Husker baseball news, 5 Huskers were named to the academic all-district list. Drew Christo, Casey Dice, Caleb Clark, Caden Brumbaugh, and Gabe Swanson were included on the list that recognizes the nation's top student athletes for their combined performances on the field and in the classroom. In swimming and diving news, Jenna Jorgensen broke her own record yesterday at the 2025 Toyota USA National Championships in Indianapolis. Jorgensen recorded a time of 8:33.79 in the 1650-yard freestyle, earning a 6th place finish. The Stanley Cup finals start tonight with a rematch of last year's matchup. The Florida Panthers are in Edmonton to take on the Oilers for Game 1, which is underway now. Game 1 of the Women's College World Series is also on tonight. Texas Tech and Texas are facing off for the championship. First pitch is underway. Our sports ticker is sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Now get ready for Hour 2 of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Pianto set first offering. That ball's driven up the middle. Coming around third is Dylan Carey. The throw is offline. The Huskers win it. The Huskers win it. Nebraska will march on.
Wing to the near side. Snap back. Has some time. Steps, throws down the field. The pass is intercepted. Picked off by Sierra Wright to the 30, 25, 20. Sierra down the near sideline. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. Sierra Wright with a pick 6 for Nebraska. And the Huskers have taken the lead on the road.
Rindahl, a couple of ball fakes, bounces into Prince at half court. And Prince is going to make a run on a falter. Steps back for 3 to tie the game. You betcha! Biggest shot of that freshman's young career. Timeout. We're tied at 75. Britt Prince is 19. She steps back and sticks a 3-pointer, her 5th of the night.
Now, here is your host, Nick Handley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hour number 2 here of Sports Nightly on a Wednesday. Full 2 hours tomorrow. No show on Friday. Nick Handley with you. Jessica Cootie, she is on vacation. And we're going to have to confirm this. I believe she's spending her vacation teaching swim lessons. That's work. I mean, come on. We got to teach Cootie how to vacay a little bit better. But I'm sure she's still having some fun and some much deserved time off for our girl Jessica Cootie. Want to remind you that to stop by your local Hy-Vee, where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee, dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Really getting into hour number 2, we're going to be talking some volleyball. And Lincoln Arneal, who has covered Nebraska volleyball for such a long time, you saw him on the ESPN 30 for 30 about the Nebraska volleyball team, which I thought was a really cool piece. He will talk to us as we never too early to talk football, never too early to talk volleyball as well. It's what is going to be a very interesting and exciting season and a new era of Nebraska volleyball under Danny Buzzboom Kelly. So looking forward to talking to Lincoln in just about 15 minutes from now. Was getting some questions about the college baseball super regionals. Had a few of these comments yesterday on the chat as far as who am I liking in this, and what is some of the Cinderellas that might emerge. A lot of conversation about the unbalance of the SEC coming in, but now that we've seen the first weekend of regional play out, where there is a lot of interesting storylines, even as Evan Bland talked about yesterday, Miami coming in as a 3 seed in a super regional out in Louisville. Tell you what, having a chance to see North Carolina up close and personal, and them playing at Chapel Hill there at Boshamer Stadium, they are going to be a tough one to beat. Looking at Oregon State having to play their way back into that final game to win that regional to get out of it. But anytime you host a super regional in Corvallis, Florida State is a great team. but trying to beat Oregon State in a 3-game series and trying to take 2 out of them to get to Omaha, that's going to be tough. Coastal Carolina and Auburn. Coastal's not a Cinderella anymore. And for people who say, well, they're not a power brand, well, maybe not in their entire athletic department, but for baseball, yeah, Coastal Carolina is a power brand. That is a solid baseball program. They host the regional. They will move on into the Auburn region or super regional, and that gets underway on Friday. Some of the other super regionals that we'll be keeping our eye on too, and this is the one that a lot of you guys were bringing up on the chat, and that was Murray State. Murray State, another team. I mean, that's a 42-win team that'll be taking on Duke. And Duke, I know they get somewhat overshadowed for 2 reasons. One, their basketball team, but 2, when you think of really good baseball in that state and in the triangle there, you think of probably the first 2 teams before you get to Duke. You think of North Carolina and you think of NC State. And remember the real tough situation that NC State had to endure, where they were really right there on the doorstep of making the championship series final, and then they had a couple guys get tested positive for COVID, and so they couldn't play. And Vanderbilt really benefited from that, where you were going to have to beat NC State twice. That was an NC State team who, by the way, beat Arkansas. That was the 2021 season where Nebraska went to Fayetteville, almost pulled it off in Fayetteville, forcing that second regional final and fell just short. And then it was NC State coming to Fayetteville, and NC State ended up defeating that Arkansas team. And then they were denied a chance to play in the College World Series final, the championship final, because they had a couple guys test positive for COVID. But Duke, all of a sudden, Duke, another team that is right there with a chance to play in Omaha. That would be kind of interesting to see the Duke Blue Devils playing in the College World Series. I think the one series, actually there are 2, though, that I am extremely excited to see. And that is West Virginia, LSU. West Virginia has been a wagon all year. I mean, they have been so good. And anytime you have to go, much like going to Boshemer Stadium in Chapel Hill, you got to go to, and Corvallis as well, but you have to go to Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and try to take 2 from the LSU Tigers. Good luck with that. And LSU is pretty darn good as well. But that Tennessee-Arkansas series, I don't know if it gets any better than that. That is going to be fantastic. Tennessee just getting out of their regional by the skin of their teeth. Arkansas had no issues whatsoever in their regional. They were scoring in bunches, and again, they had no problems there. But maybe the sneakiest regional that I don't think is going to get enough, super regional that is going to get enough conversation, that is going to be the Roadrunners of UTSA going to Westwood to take on UCLA. Because since Nebraska beat UCLA in the Big Ten championship game, 5-0, by the way, in case you forgot, that UCLA team was pretty impressive in their regional and hosting their regional. So now they move on to the super regionals where they'll host UTSA. We saw what UTSA did in the Austin regional. And this is a UTSA team that is 3 games shy of a 50-win team. Yeah, 47 wins on the year, and they have got some serious arms on that team. So I think, and this is what UCLA has as well. UCLA has some really good arms. We've talked a lot about that sophomore class that they have at UCLA, and Rock Chalowski, one of the best players in all of college baseball. I know it's not the sexiest matchup because people are thinking, UTSA, okay, who are they? That's a team that is definitely capable of getting out of Westwood with a trip to the College World Series. But how about this? How crazy would it be that UCLA, the last time we saw them in Omaha, Nebraska was celebrating, hoisting up a trophy, but we might see UCLA return to Omaha in the College World Series. I think that's going to be a fantastic super regional, so keep your eyes on that one. But again, they all get underway on Friday and Saturday. Looking forward to that college baseball portion of the season. And then we'll see the 8 that emerge to Omaha. And what continues to be an interesting discussion with college baseball and the parity that we've seen. Because I've mentioned a couple of teams that I would say are probably not the most traditional powers when it comes to college baseball in the last 10 to 20 years. Okay, I mean, you look at, yes, West Virginia, they've had some recent success, but to see that team as a 44-win team playing in a super regional, I think is impressive. I just talked about UTSA. You can't sell many more on Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina's won a national championship. Coastal Carolina continues to recruit very well out there in Conway. They're a solid program as well. But you look at again, even some of the teams like, Wright State, who knows a lot about Wright State other than, okay, that's just a team we haven't seen a lot. But this is a team that has also hovered around the top 25 in the last couple of years. It's a quality baseball program that, unlike the North Carolinas of the world and the Oregon States of the world and the Arkansas and LSUs of the world, those are programs that typically when they have 4 or 5 guys that really stand out, you've got to fight off the suitors from the other big baseball programs that are trying to recruit them away and try to get them in the transfer portal and get them some money while they finish out their college career. And so hat tip to Wright State. I'm telling you, that is a program that they've continued to be able to put out some good players, and to see them in a super regional is going to be really exciting. But I know Evan had said the transfer portal was maybe what you're tempted to say when you look at the college baseball parity. I think it has a lot to do with it. I truly do. And I think, unfortunately, I think it's temporary, because I think with the revenue share, it's going to continue to allow the rich to get richer. But I think it is also going to put a lot of the other conferences that are not the ACC and the SEC in a predicament, but also having to ask the question, how much are you going to prioritize your baseball program? And I think the answer to that question is going to be different for a lot of those programs. I don't think it's going to be conference-wide for some of those other conferences. The Big Ten is going to be an interesting find. It's going to be an interesting study when it comes to college baseball and where athletic programs, athletic directors that is, are prioritizing those programs. And I think I've always believed this with Nebraska baseball. As long as there is a demand and a fan base that truly cares and wants to see this program be good, you have to find some way, shape, or form to give that program the resources to do so. You have, in my opinion, and sure, you can say I'm biased, but again, I see a lot more of the day in, day out stuff. I think you have a great coaching staff. I think you have a great head coach. You have a great pitching coach. I think that entire staff is solid. I think they understand how to recruit. And I think now opening some new doors with the addition of the West Coast teams can also allow you some opportunities to go out that way if you choose to. The bottom line is the overall RPI for this conference has improved because of the UCLA's, USC's, Washington, and Oregon's coming in. But what I also think is when you have that, now upping a little bit of that profile of the conference for a lot of the schools that are more of your traditional Midwest schools that are finding themselves playing out in Arizona or in Texas in the month of February, I think this also gives you an opportunity to get out on the West Coast and try to be able to attract some of those types of players. We've seen players from the West Coast come into Lincoln every now and then in the baseball program, but it's just not that many. And now with the Big Ten in that expansion and seeing the success of those West Coast schools, I'll be curious to see if more schools are trying to take advantage of it from that standpoint. But again, a lot remains to be seen. Super regional action, again, getting underway on Friday. Quick football note, and again, Friday night, we've talked a lot about it. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow, too, leading up to the event, the Battle at the Boneyard. Again, everything gets underway in the afternoon at Memorial Stadium. There'll be drills, a lot of skills portion of the camp going on, and then the actual 7v7 competition itself gets underway right around 5 o'clock, where they'll have pool play, and then the bracket comes out at 6. That'll play all the way out to the championship game of this one. So you've got great competition. That is going to be really cool. I was listening to a little bit of the Ryan Day interview where he was talking about the Big Ten having and deserving 4 teams to be in the college football playoff every year, advocating for the conference, much like Matt Rule was doing a year ago. And he didn't necessarily point out Nebraska or the actual 7-on-7 showcase. But it was one of the reasons I asked Brian Christopherson, too, is this something that you're going to see other programs trying to mimic? Is this something you're going to see other programs really try to find that creative path on how to host some type of showcase event, some type of competition event, but really try to drive your fan base to be a part of that? And I think there are certain programs, Nebraska thankfully being one of them, where you can make that call to the fan base and say, hey, be really cool, and it would look good on all of us if we had some bodies out there, some support out there, because we're trying to make impressions here. And we're rewarding you with not just, like Brian talked about, like BC talked about those Friday night light camps where you were watching a lot of drills, and then you were watching, some of the good-on-good situations. Like you said, the most popular part without question, was the wide receivers, DBs, go route, all right, see who wins the battle. But again, those were essentially drills. This is where you're going to actually see a competition going on. So there is something to take away from it, to maybe find yourself engaged in it as well. But what Ryan Day was talking about is, I think, very similar to what Nebraska's doing, of seeing a lot more innovative ways with working with their collectives and having more fan engagement, that they can get their fan base behind what they're trying to do from a name, image, likeness standpoint, and being able to continue to generate that revenue. And we saw Nebraska do this with that open practice a year ago. Now, again, this event on Friday has nothing to do with that. But I think, again, it's where you can lean on your fans, whether it's because you need more donations for name, image, likeness, and for the collective, or in this case, where you're putting on an event where it would look great if all of these players and these teams are competing in front of a decent smattering of fans. That puts on a great impression. And just like when guys were going to the Friday Night Lights camp and they saw some fans there, it opened their eyes. They took a second look at it, like, wow, this is kind of cool. It's, you're in the dead of summer right now, and these people are showing up to see this. This is pretty interesting and pretty cool. So I think that's a lot of coaches are feeling that if they've got that fan base, that they can lean on them that way. They can allow them access that they haven't had before, and in return, they can charge them a little bit of money here and there. Or in Nebraska's case, for this thing on Friday, if you're looking to make the most out of this recruiting weekend and you want to turn some heads and you want to make those impressions, this is where you're asking for the fans as well. So I think it's going to be really, really cool. And as BC said, and I'm with him, I think this is just a really neat event more than anything. You're going to see some highly skilled young high school players, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and some seniors too that are participating in this. It's going to be really cool. So again, that's Friday. We'll talk more about it in details and everything you need to know about the event tomorrow on the show. Going to take a break from football. Going to talk a little volleyball. Lincoln Arneal. He has been covering Husker volleyball for a very long time, and he is one of the very best to do so. He joins us next here on Sports Nightly.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Your next vehicle is waiting for you at Woodhouse. With over 20 locations and a variety of brands, Woodhouse offers everything from reliable trucks to family-friendly SUVs. Whether you're looking for a Nissan, Mazda, or Infiniti, our team is here to help you find the perfect fit. Enjoy a seamless car buying experience with our expert staff and exceptional service. Visit Woodhouse today, where quality, selection, and customer satisfaction come first. Or get started online at woodhouse.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation. I wouldn't have adopted my first pet. And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Anytime we can talk some volleyball, the first person I always think about is the man that is going to join us here on the phone next, and that is Lincoln Arneal, because when it comes to volleyball and the authority of Husker volleyball, he won't say it because he is he's a modest guy. But I'll say it. Nobody does it better than Lincoln Arneal. Also co-host of the Volleyball Pod. Good stuff with him as well through the podcast, through his work just writing. Used to be on the beat for a very, very long time with the Omaha World Herald as well. Lincoln, how are you? How's the summer treating you so far, my man?
Nick, it's great. Got back from vacation yesterday, ready to get back in the grind, and I'm already looking forward towards volleyball season.
Well, so I caught you just as you got back from volleyball, and the kind of guy you are is, yeah, I can make that work. I can come on. Look at you.
Yeah, the grind never stops. You got to keep going. You're playing volleyball nations leagues are going now, so there is no off season with volleyball anymore.
It's right. Well, hey, and it's a good place to jump off because Camden and I were just talking about this during the break. The VNL Volleyball Nations League, where you're going to have the Big Ten Network actually broadcasting some of these games. And we've seen the jump that schools like Nebraska, and really led by Nebraska and the Penn States of the world and the Wisconsins of the world, that have drawn such a huge audience when it does come to volleyball on the Big Ten Network. It almost seems very fitting that they're going to expand it a little bit, and they're going to go more with the national women's coverage here on Big Ten Network.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a great partnership, too. I mean, Big Ten Network has had their matches shown on the Volleyball World TV, and they're the ones who are broadcasting this, so it would make a great partnership. Sue Marriott with BTN, who kind of coordinates all of their volleyball coverage. Native Nebraskan, I should also mention. Yeah. She does a great job with it and really pushing volleyball. It keeps elevating the game, so it's good opportunity to see the national level. That's kind of the one thing that was missing from the portfolio, was how to watch the national team, and thanks to BTN and CBS Sports Network, we can now.
The last time you and I talked, we were previewing Nebraska in the Final Four, and I hadn't even had a chance to discuss with you not only the way the season ended, but also the major change and now ushering in a new era of Husker volleyball with Danny Busboom Kelly. You look back at everything that transpired. I never had a chance to ask you your overall surprise level that John Cook looked at the moment in time and said, you know what, I'm good. I can step aside, and we got somebody that's going to come in here and be able to take it and hit the ground running?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised too. I mean, in my back of my head, I meant to sit down sometime this offseason and kind of have a John Cook retirement story ready to roll. I did not have it ready by the end of January. So I think the timing of it was a surprise, but the fact that he was near the end, and also the fact that he handed off to Danny, that was not a surprise at all. But I think it was great how they were able to do it and kind of give John a little bit of shine and appreciate his accomplishments over his 25 years too, and then also kind of hand off the baton to Danny and really set her up for success. I mean, looking back now, I think it makes complete sense. We should have seen this more coming. John has a second grandchild on the way. Danny has a second child that just arrived in the last couple of weeks too. And I remember talking to John about this too. I mean, once you get that second child or second grandchild, your world kind of changed too, and you start planting down roots. And I think that really, who would have thought that pregnancy and giving birth would play into the timeline of John Cook retiring? But I really think that weighed on him, and he got to see his granddaughter a little bit more. And now the new grandchild, I think, too, really helped seal the deal for him.
When you think about, and I know you've had conversations with her, probably even going all the way back to when you were covering this program when she was a player, of the type of experience, but also understanding the climate here and what Nebraska has done for so many years to remain one of the premier programs in all of college volleyball. What do you sense from Danny Busboom Kelly as far as what her overall identity with this team will be, and if it will look different at all?
I don't think so. I think Nebraska volleyball gets elite athletes and puts them in position to succeed. They play great defense, and if we look at what Louisville was doing the last couple of years, they were leading the nation in blocking, right up there with Nebraska as well too. So I think defense will be a cornerstone of this. Her and Dan Maskey were very creative offensively, and I think the last couple of years what you saw John Cook do is maybe be a little bit more conservative on offense, knowing that they had the best defense, that they can really rely on that and didn't need to take as many risks. So I think that we may see a little more creativity there too, but it'll look very familiar. It'll still be cornerstoned on that defensive philosophy.
There is going to be some interesting position battles because it just seems like Lexi Rodriguez has been at Nebraska for a very long time, and in some way, shape, or form, she actually has been. But that position, when you look at the libero position between, say, Eleni Choboy or Olivia Malk, and what that is going to mean to get the pieces in place, is that something that you expect to see play into even early in the season of who will kind of settle into that spot? What's your overall viewpoint of the libero position and what Nebraska loses with Lexi Rodriguez?
Oh, I mean, they lose, one of the most popular, one of the most talented people in all of college volleyball. So, it's not going to be an easy task to replace her, but I think the way Nebraska will approach it is by a team approach. You have Carrie Leinbach, who she could start at, most Power One or Division One schools too. She's no slouch too, but she's probably going to be third string. So I think that one of the comments that Danny made this spring too is that they're both very similar. They can do great things on defense. They bring very different things personality-wise, where she's going to kind of play that person. What does the team need from the libero? Do they need a calming presence? Do they need someone who's a little bit better in serve receive? That's Olivia. Or they need someone to fire them up. They need someone to chase down balls and really kind of light a fire under their teammates. That's Laney. So I think that we will, yes, I agree with you. It'll go into the fall. And you may even see them, depending on the opponent or depending on how Nebraska's playing, them switch back and forth between sets.
I want to get to Harper Murray because she's obviously going to be a major focal point of this team and the success that they have. But I feel like if we're talking about another junior, a player that made such huge strides and really became an unstoppable force in a lot of big matches in Andy Jackson, Is Andy? Are we just starting to scratch the surface with Andy Jackson? What type of leap do you think she goes now from after we saw the freshman to sophomore year, now sophomore to junior year?
Yeah, I think if there's anybody that's going to benefit from the implementation of Danny's offense, it's going to be Andy Jackson. I mean, we saw a little bit in that spring match against Kansas when Andy hit that from the back row attack. I mean, the crowd knew it too. That when she hit that, like, oh, that was different. That was something really cool. So I think we'll see more like that. And you saw Bergen would force the action a little bit more, knowing that Andy can do a lot with the ball. And if you just get her the ball, give her those opportunities, she's going to do something with it too. So I think Andy really, we are scratching the surface, and I think she really has improved as a blocker too. That's the one area where she still has a lot of growth potential too. She's a very good blocker right now, but I think as she gets more practice reps, time in the gym, just more volleyball time, we're going to see more stuff from her with the block too. But I mean, she's already she was the only middle blocker on first team All-American last year too. So that's kind of, I don't know, there's not many middles across the country that can do what she does on offense.
Talking with Lincoln Arneal, Husker Volleyball Insider here on Sports Nightly. Let's get to Harper Murray, because I think that this is someone that had to shoulder a lot of expectations, and to her credit, I mean, she created those expectations the way that she just came on the scene as a freshman, and it was just so dynamic. We saw her handle some of the off-the-court issues between her freshman and sophomore year. Seems extremely focused, and her game even got better. I know there's a lot of conversation about a National Player of the Year type of person in Harper Murray. For her to be the best in college volleyball, maybe this is the better question, Lincoln. How far away is she from being the very best in college volleyball, if far at all?
I mean, I think she's in the conversation. She's definitely in the top. She has the potential to be in the top 10, top 5. The one thing that's going to limit her is all the talent she has around her. You look at some of the other people that may be in the conversation with her, Logan Lednicki at Texas A&M, Kendi Martin now at Penn State. I think that they have the opportunity to take over the game too, and really be the sole focus of the offense. That's the one thing that holds Harper back too, is she has such talented teammates, and that's kind of the focal point of Nebraska volleyball is if one player has an off night too, well, here's 2 or 3 other attackers that can really pick up that slack. So I expect Harper to be the leader of this team, and she can take over matches too. And I think we saw that a little bit too. I mean, she kind of picked her spots in set 1 and 2, but when it came down to it, sets 3 and then 4 or 5 if they needed it, that's where Harper was really calling for the ball, and they relied on her. And I think that's where Nebraska needs her to step up too. So I mean, talent-wise, I think that she's one of the best players in college volleyball too. The problem is Nebraska is so talented, her stats it's going to be tough to stack up her stats, but especially because her passing, I think that's maybe the most underrated part of her game. Having Harper Murray in the back row is like having another libero. I was looking when I was voting for the All Big Ten teams last year too. I mean, her passing numbers were as good as other teams' liberos. So that's maybe the most unsung part of her game, and what makes her one of the best players in the country too is not just her attacking numbers, but her ability to pass and play all 6 rotations.
Lincoln, I do want to talk about some of the freshmen and what you're hearing and how do you think that they'll impact in their first year. But I want to talk about someone who is now going to have a redshirt freshman year in Skylar Pierce. We know how, again, highly touted, very similar to the way Harper Murray was as well. We know what type of talent she brings. What do you anticipate for her in the upcoming season for Skylar Pierce?
I think she's going to be in the mix too. I mean, Harper Murray's going to be starting at the outside position, one of the outside hitter positions, and I think Skylar will be in the mix for that other one too. She has some flexibility. She trained last year at opposite, but Nebraska now has 3 opposites on the roster, so they don't necessarily need her there. So I think that she'll be in the mix. She'll be going up against Taylor Landfair and then Toria Sigler as well too. So I hope that she gets a chance to prove it. And you saw she struggled a little bit in the first match against Kansas this spring, but really kind of came back against South Dakota State, and I think showed a little more so what she is too. Because I think she is ridiculously talented and really is a good player too. You hope she gets an opportunity to prove it and really an extended opportunity, not just a token thing at the end of the third set of a sweep where she gets on the court for a handful of points, but a chance to start a match and really show the potential that she has.
You just mentioned Terea Sigler, and you also talked a little bit about Carrie Leinbach, who could be one of the better liberos in the country, but is going to have a stacked room too. But also, looking at a Campbell Flynn as a setter, obviously she's going to have to earn her time too. But I mean, this is another talented freshman class that makes their way into Lincoln, and Ryan Hunter as well as an opposite hitter. Who do you think has the chance to impact this team the most right out of the gate?
Right out of the gate, I think Terea Sigler does too. I think that she could. I mean, I don't know who's going to start the first match, but she'll definitely be in the mix to start outside hitter. She was really impressive. She didn't get a lot of swings, but I think she may have maybe 15 swings in between the two matches. But she had 9 kills. Maybe she knows how to put the ball away. She can play all 6 rotations. So I think they all are, like you said, insanely talented and will get their shots. I think the clearest path maybe is going to be Sigler outside hitter too. And I mean, you talk about how you're going to get all these things. And that's one thing. I think Danny is very. Someone's not playing right. She wants to talk to him. We'll do a quick sub. She plays a lot of players, more so than what Nebraska's done the last couple of years. Well, they'll kind of let the players work it out on the court too. I think what I've seen from Danny at Louisville too is she's not afraid just to do a quick sub, throw someone out there, try to change up the momentum and give someone a shot on the floor too. So I think that Nebraska's depth will benefit them in that area.
Lincoln, before I let you go, and I get it. We're in the first week of June right now, but just your forecast on what the Big Ten looks like, where Nebraska stacks up against, teams that are trying to hunt them down. How deep is it compared to previous years, and just your early assessment of what the 2025 Big Ten season looks like?
I think Nebraska we'll come seeing about end of next month. We'll see what the coaches poll is. I expect Nebraska to be the favorite this year. They return 3 All-Americans. No one else in the nation does that too. And just the depth they have with this freshman club, I expect Nebraska to be there. I think in general, the Big Ten is down. There was a lot of 4th and 5th year seniors that left. You look at last year's all Big Ten teams, and there was just a lot of experience on there that's graduated and moved on. So, overall, it won't be as loaded just because we're past the COVID bonus year, too. But Penn State, now that they have Kennedy Martin, they're going to be dangerous in defense of their title. And then I think Wisconsin, and maybe a team that I think could do really well in the portal is UCLA. Minnesota, I think, will be up there, too. But I think this is Nebraska's it's their race. They should be in control of it to go for a three-peat. So I'm excited to see what they can do and how they kind of deal with all of this influx of talent. And they have to go to Penn State. They get Penn State twice, so they may not have an easy schedule, but I think they'll relish the challenge and enjoy the opportunity in front of them.
Lincoln, I lied. There was one more question I did want to get to, and it is some more of the volleyball spectrum right now. Sorry. It's this bonus question. There you go. You come back from vacation, you get a bonus question for me. And kind of where we started off, where I was bringing up the VNL and the Big Ten Network doing some of those games too, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this because I know in the state of Nebraska, it seems like the sport itself has never been more popular, never more healthy with what we've seen with the Supernovas, with what we've seen with League One, and just the overall, I would say, between the attendance, but also the television coverage and the amount of numbers that we're seeing from that. Simply asked, have you seen the sport healthier than what it is right now?
No, I think people are realizing that women's volleyball is exciting to watch. There's a lot more name recognition as we're kind of getting to see these people who build up their profile. They stay in college for 4 or 5 years, build up the reputation, build up a following. I think thanks to social media, NILs made the women's volleyball players a lot more prominent and modern culture, and I think having those professional leagues here in the United States, they're not going over playing in Italy, playing in Turkey. They get to stay here and get to stay in the front of mind too. So I think yes, we're definitely seeing volleyball reach new peaks, and I think, like you said, getting VNL actually on broadcast coverage is kind of the next piece of that. To again, people love watching the Olympics, but to have something between the Olympic cycle, to see the national team get to play, because I think that's the best team in the United States is the women's national team. You get to see all those collection of the best players playing together on the same side is really exciting, and I'm glad to see that more people have the opportunity to watch it.
Yeah, no question. Lincoln Arneal, again, one of the greats to cover Nebraska volleyball. Be sure to check out the volleyball pod that he has as well throughout the season. Always good stuff. Lincoln, thank you so much for joining us right off of your vacation, my man. I hope we get a chance to talk as we get the season off here coming up in the fall.
No problem, Nick. Always a pleasure. Thanks for reaching out, and keep doing good work yourself.
Thank you, Lincoln. Lincoln Arneal joining us here on Sports Nightly. We're going to step aside. We're going to get to some couple segments here before we call tonight here on a Wednesday. Hey, we'll update you on that Stanley Cup Finals because I know so many of you, other than Shane, want to know what's going on too. But we have more coming your way here on Sports Nightly.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Your next vehicle is waiting for you at Woodhouse. With over 20 locations and a variety of brands, Woodhouse offers everything from reliable trucks to family-friendly SUVs. Whether you're looking for a Nissan, Mazda, or Infiniti, our team is here to help you find the perfect fit. Enjoy a seamless car buying experience with our expert staff and exceptional service. Visit Woodhouse today, where quality, selection, and customer satisfaction come first. Or get started online at woodhouse.com.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing. You pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Great stuff from Lincoln Arneal, Husker Volleyball Insider, joining us in our last segment. As we mentioned, 85 days until football season gets underway. Hey, we're right around the same for volleyball, so looking forward to that. Keeping you updated on the Stanley Cup finals going on in game number 1 out in Edmonton. Florida has taken a 2-1 lead. It was Leon Draisaitl getting it started for Edmonton, and then 2 unanswered for the Florida Panthers. So they are about 7 minutes left to go in the first period of that one. I know y'all care about that. So I'm just keeping you informed. It's what we do here on Sports Nightly. Again, we have no show on Friday. We'll be back tomorrow, and hoping that we'll have a chance to talk a little bit more in depth about what you need to know when it comes to the 7v7 competition, the Battle of the Boneyard competition going on Friday at Memorial Stadium. So looking for some good conversation with that tomorrow. I was looking at the CBS Sports, their most impactful transfers for the Big Ten season. And obviously there's a lot of the ones that you would expect. Justice Haynes, running back. Nico for UCLA coming from Tennessee. That was obviously a big get as well. Fernando Mendoza making his way from Cal to Indiana, especially after the type of season that we saw Indiana have. And Cool Curtis, as our man Gus Johnson would say, Curtis O'Rourke, who had just a fantastic year before he got injured. You've got Trevor Pena in there. Another guy that I think is going to turn some heads because it's not your typical quarterback that you've seen over at that school off to our east, Iowa. But Mark Gronowski was a pretty decent pickup for them. I was surprised that you didn't see more than just Dane Key for Nebraska. But Dane Key is on the most impactful transfers for CBS Sports in the Big Ten. What they said about Dane Key was Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nayor combined for 78 receptions for 1,042 yards and 8 touchdowns last season, but both are gone. So Dylan Ryland needs new weapons to throw to, and Dane Key will receive plenty of looks. Key caught 126 passes for 1,870 yards and 14 touchdowns in 3 seasons with Kentucky, and will likely post career highs in Nebraska's offense. And I think a lot of that respect for Dane Key also factors in not only to Dylan Ryland, but Dana Holgerson and what he wants to utilize with those types of wide receivers. Now, they don't mention offensive linemen, and that's why I say I was a little surprised that Dane Key was the only one for Nebraska, because I think if you do get into the offensive line, I think without question you're looking at a Rocco Spindler and his importance. I think also Elijah Pritchett, I think his importance to this offensive line for guys that have logged a lot of snaps for Nebraska and are coming off of some various health issues, but a group that has plenty of experience. You get 2 key cogs to solidify that group that have not only played a lot, but have started a lot at elite college football programs, one of which who was playing in a national championship in Notre Dame, and Rocco Spindler. I think if you're going to look at the offensive line key impact transfers, I would have been really shocked if you didn't see at least one of those guys, if not both of them, mentioned for Nebraska. Going to come back, and we're going to wrap up the show here on a Wednesday. It's Sports Nightly.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Nick Handley with you. Just a quick segment here as we wrap things up on a Wednesday. It was given the question by Crypto in the chat about amount of wins for Nebraska. He said 10, 11? Well, remember, yesterday we were talking about the Football Power Index. Now, also the other metric that ESPN does and Bill Connelly, and it's a very fascinating one, and it's one that I know has always gotten a lot of love from Nebraska the preseason, is the SP+. That has not been released, at least the updated one, as we get a little bit closer to the fall season. I'll be curious on what that is. But remember, the FPI had Nebraska, if you missed this yesterday, at 7.5 wins and 4.5 losses. So essentially they're saying they're either a 7 or 8 win team, a 7-5 season or an 8-4 season. I believe it was Shane who correctly pointed out that the Vegas win total right now is 7.5 for Nebraska if you're taking the over or under on that one. I think there are still a lot of things that remain to be seen on where I might be confident with a number. Now, I responded to Crypto and saying that I was feeling good about at least an 8-win season. Anything more than that, and we spent some time talking about this yesterday, that third phase for Nebraska that really needs to see that consistency from the kicking game to the return game and all other avenues when it comes to special teams. And I think they got the right guy in place. Mike Eckler, what he did at Tennessee, and of course we remember his time in Nebraska. There is a passion and an energy that it's infectious, it's contagious. He'll get the he'll get the young adults that want to definitely be a part of that. But the bottom line is, can you find that consistency, especially in the field goal kicking? To me, that is a big question mark, one of a few, before we can get into the total wins that Nebraska could have. But I always appreciate that question. Hey, big thanks to Camden Cohn, also to Henry Goodwin back in the Akrs Broadcast Studio. I'm Nick Handley. We'll be back with you tomorrow on Sports Nightly. You guys have a great rest of your Wednesday evening. Thanks for listening and watching.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing, you pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or give us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in